Resources are here if you want to learn more. Now, I had an exercise for you to do just when it comes to SEO, what we just discussed. Just put in here, make a commitment to, if you need to learn more, what is it? And then where are you going to find out more about that? And then set yourself a date to become confident in talking about this. When I say expert, I mean all you need to do is get to my level, and a lot of you might be there or well beyond, but that's the only level you need to be at to sell the stuff. You saw as soon as someone asked me, like, how do you build links? Well, I don't really know. But that doesn't matter. If you can just outline like a best practice and you're confident that you can do that and you're confident that's going to get results, that's enough.
Is there a resource you would recommend, or anybody else would recommend for becoming educated on this topic?
Yeah, so these ones I had up before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If you email me in the Facebook group, I'll send you some good videos about some top SEOs for like doing client SEO.
Oh, great.
And they'll go more into detail about like the links and stuff like that. So
Should that be really useful? What's your
I'm in the Facebook for Craig Dixon. Great. So yeah.
Maybe you just post then, and then everyone will know. Yeah.
But again, you don't need it to sell. So.
Yeah, don't get caught in the rabbit holes of these different things. Like, otherwise you'll end up getting hired by someone like me. Because that's what's happened to my contractors. They're the ones that have gone like deep down this rabbit hole, done every SEO course, read everything you could possibly. My guy's done SEO since SEO was a thing. And he's been battling the top other SEO guy, and they've got like a hidden grudge against each other. And he's the best, he's probably the best or the second best in New Zealand at SEO. And because he's overcomplicated everything and he doesn't know how to market and sell, now he's just decided to contract me, So it's not important to become an expert in it. Like when Rockefeller, the money in the world comes to people that see an opportunity and then get experts and gather them together and then use the experts to grab the opportunity for them. With Rockefeller, when he spotted the opportunity for oil, he didn't start doing courses on how to drill into rocks and how to do all of this and that, and then he didn't go out there and start drilling himself. He saw the opportunity and he got experts, and he had really good ones, and that's how he did it. And this is the same sort of strategy. There's a massive opportunity to sell SEO and AdWords and these things to businesses that are doing over $1 million. And to take that opportunity, you want to use the experts that already exist instead of becoming one yourself. So when I say expert, I mean just at a level where you're confident enough to sell it. Yeah. And then put a date in there, hold yourself accountable, put a date in there when you're going to be clued up on this topic.
You said you pay your SEO guy 50% of what you do.
Pardon?
Sorry, 50% contract.
Yeah, 50% of, if you're doing SEO, AdWords, Facebook, and content, you pay him 50% of that contract?
50% of just the SEO piece.
And how much is that of a $5,000 contract?
So, you mean $5,000 between all the different products?
If you're doing a $5,000 retainer, how much of that is SEO?
So this is one from the blueprint thing. There we go. Yeah. That was supposed to be in the presentation.
What's GST per month?
Oh yeah, forget that. That's just sales tax in New Zealand.
Okay.
Goods and service tax. So,
what if there's only 5 keywords? I mean, do you ever break outside of that? I mean, you got like 3, 6, 10. I mean, what if they have some weird number, like 17 keywords? I mean, what do you do in those situations?
I'd probably just ask the contractor,
Okay.
Yeah.
So these are really based off of what your contractor does. This is how he packages it.
This is what he used to sell it for as well. So I took his base prices, this is how I figured it out. I took his base prices, made them about 12% more expensive, and then negotiated to pay him 50% of what they used to be. Yeah. But he's happier as a person doing it this way. He just does what he likes, you know. Focus. He just likes building links and doing SEO. He doesn't like selling, marketing. He doesn't like having to talk to people and do that sort of stuff. He just likes doing this. And there is, like I said, with money, it's just not face value. There's a cost to acquire a customer, right? And a lot of the time, that's a big chunk of the money. Airlines often are willing to pay more money to acquire the customer than what they make. So if you have a lead gen site, then for like an airline, you can often make more money just by getting them a customer through a couple of clicks than they make flying someone across the world in an aeroplane. You know, that's how ridiculous it is.
Now, how do you report on these things? What's the reporting structure that you use?
So the cool thing about it is each guy has, because they've been experts, they've got their own reports. So they all send me their reports. And they use different, I know they use software to pull their reports. But in there I've got, because we've got, you know, we can only do an hour a topic.
Yep.
We can't go too detailed on everything. So
Well, I guess my only question is there anything you add on top of what they send you for a report? Like
not really,
No? Okay.
no. Often they send too much, so I cut it down. Like,
And do you label it as your own?
yeah.
Does your guy has his own team or is he one?
Yes, so he's got his own team that are overseas somewhere. Yeah,
How often do you do the reports?
monthly.
You do it at the end of the month, basically.
Yeah.
And do you ever, like, how often do you get on the phone with a client, like, ever? Once they're signed up for a monthly thing?
So,
Are there ever touch points?
yeah, I would say on average it would probably be every 2 months. If I was doing a better, but if I was going to do an ideal job, it would be at least once a month. But, you know, I've been doing so many things, I wish I did once a month, yeah.
And what would you do on that call, ideally?
Just ask them how it's going and, yeah, just say like, you know, did you get the report? Do you want me to talk you through a couple of the points? How's business been going for you? Yeah.
That's pretty close.
Good point.
Yeah, I haven't done that when I'm giving them the report, but you could do that.
Which of these packages are most popular?
Pardon?
Which among these packages are the most popular?
Most popular?
They expand.
This isn't fact-based, but if I had to guess, it would be 6. Yeah.
How many blog posts per week or a month?
Just one a week.
1 week.
Is that included in this?
Yeah.
Sorry, so what's total, for example, 3 keywords, what's totally included? The blog post, 1 week? I'm just trying to figure out what the total package is.
So what do they get for 3 keywords?
Oh, so we'd only optimize for 3 keywords.
Okay, do they get 1 blog post per keyword or just 1?
No. It's just one a week.
Okay.
It changes, you know, like
1 of the 3 keywords?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So only 1 blog post a week. So the max someone gets is 4, you know.
And do they get like a link a month or?
I don't know how the links business works, but he does this. So this is based around the links, this pricing. So to optimize and grow links for more keywords, the price increases, right? So it's more. I don't think it's to do with links. It's more to do with how many keywords. That's how SEO is generally priced. Because most of the work here, I would say, is in the links. Because if I did all of the other stuff with the other contractors without him link building, like, you know, if we look back to that pie chart, links is the biggest chunk out of everything. Yeah.
Is he supplying the blog posts or do you find it somewhere?
No, I get an article writer to do the blog posts. Yeah.
So when you're paying him half, you also have to pay an article writer outside of the half that you're doing there, so your profit margin is less than 50% then?
So yeah, like a little bit less, but to do the article writing, it's like $10. Yeah.
But you also said it was up 10%, so basically the fact that you priced it 10% and then half, you basically kind of take that 10% to pay a blog.
I roughly make 50%. Like it's not it's, there might be a small difference in there, but it's pretty much 50, yeah. And I know with AdWords it's 70.
How long are the blog articles usually? 500 words?
I think, yeah, they're around 500 words, yeah.
So you have 2 contractors per client, one for the SEO stuff and one for content writing.
Yeah.
That's it.
Do you pay the SEO or the article writer to optimize to the on-page content if it needs to be developed when they make the pages?
The on-page content. So that would be the SEO guy. Yeah.
The SEO guy writes the content for the page, but you have a different person write the articles.
Yes.
Okay. Why
Yeah.
is that not the same person?
Because he wouldn't do that. Like he's, that's a real pain in the ass job. That, and you've got to be a certain type of person to write posts like that. Most people can't write blog posts like that. It's a lot of writing.
How do you find the article writer for that niche?
Pardon?
How do you find the article writer or the blog post writer for that niche that you're targeting?
So there's a website called Zeries. Does anyone? Just try Zerys. Has anyone heard of that?
No.
So I would typically use the old contractor for a small client, but if you want someone, if you're going to do a really good job, then you'd use Zeries. Zeries takes a little bit more time.
How do you spell it?
Zerys. Is that coming up with anything?
Yeah.
See writers. Why does it take more time?
Because you kind of like, they do more research per post and things. You've got to kind of create an ad to hire them, and yeah.
How much does it cost?
So I always pay 10 to 15 an article.
Okay. You like buying a bulk thing?
What do you mean? Oh, well, we negotiate per month, right?
So now,
Are they US based?
Most of the time, yeah. Cool, so everyone done that exercise? Because I said, like, in my business, there's a guy that's one of the sales rep. He's really good at selling. His mindset's obviously good because he has absolutely no problem with selling, but isn't skilled on the product front, and it makes a big difference. So I've kind of ignored it before, and said you can make up for everything with marketing and sales. But I truly believe you should be up to date with these things that we've put in the wealth index. So at the beginning, we had all the mindset stuff, then we had the product stuff, then the marketing and the sales stuff. So I want to try and pull everything right up. So the next one is AdWords. So who doesn't know what AdWords is? Good. So I'll do a one-sentence explanation. It's just, if you search, SEO is the organic stuff that comes up. AdWords is the paid stuff that comes up, the stuff up the top. So an overview of what we'll cover for AdWords, just like SEO, what it is, the segment of the market that's the best fit, what we include in our AdWords packages for clients, and how we price and package it, and some additional resources. So just the same as the other one. So what it is, we all know what AdWords is, and how it works very quickly is someone would just search for keywords. So it's very easy to think about, because you can just imagine someone. If someone, let's say a kid kicks a football through your window in your house. You have a broken window. You have a problem, so you need your glass repaired. So you think of the problem, and then you think, what keyword would someone search for if they had a problem? Well, they would search for glass repair in a local area, right? So that's what happens. Something happens to someone, they have pain, they have a problem, and then they search for a keyword. And then the results come up, and they'll either click on the organic results, or they'll click on the paid results. The paid results is AdWords. And then when they click on that, they'll go to the website or the landing page, and on that page, they will skim it, and they'll think to themselves, can this person or company solve my problem, and is it a good fit? And if they are, they will call and then buy, or they'll fill out a form, either one of those things, and that's what I mean by convert. If they don't, they'll just hit back and keep looking for someone else, and that's bounce. So that's as basic as explaining AdWords can get. Now, just like SEO, that's why I said these two things are so close together. Just like SEO, the foundation for an AdWords campaign is the keywords. And the keywords are generally identical to SEO. They don't change. And that's why if you're doing someone's AdWords, you should also do the SEO because they're so tight together. Now, if you're doing both, the beauty of it is that you're getting more money, but for not that much more work, right? Because the keyword research is all the same, and the landing pages are all the same. It's a lot you get to save on the work. So I explain how I sell it to. I'll go over that in the next one. So it's very similar to SEO. The foundation is the keywords. Use the Google keyword tool and then look at market leaders and best practices. So there's a market leader in every market, and if they look in the local one first, then go nationwide, and then try international if you can't find anything. Look for someone that's doing well to copy. And then just like SEO, you should define 5 to 10, 15 keywords. Does this make sense? Pretty much identical. So once you've got that worked out, what Google uses to work out how to show your ad is something called a quality score. Now, the beauty of this is that if you've done the SEO and everything, it makes the quality score better and it comes up really high. So Google uses these things to work out like the quality score. I'll ignore some of them, I'll just use the main ones. So the landing page relevance is a big one. So if the keyword is glass repair Miami, and the landing page title says glass repair Miami, and the ad says glass repair Miami, that's a high quality score because it's relevant. But if the landing page says pet food in Boston, then it's not a high quality score. Do you get what I mean? And then the keyword relevancy, the ad copy relevance. So if the ad says glass repair Miami, the keyword is glass repair Miami, and then the landing page is glass repair Miami, it's like a straight line goes through them all. That really helps build quality score. And that's the sort of algorithm that Google uses to work out how high to show your ad or not. It does take into account bid, but quality score is the main thing. And how you get a really high quality score is by doing the job properly, which is doing the research, breaking it out, and then having different ads and different landing pages and different keywords. How a lot of people do it, then the wrong way to do it, is to guess at the keywords and then have one ad for all the keywords and then point everyone to the homepage. That's what most people do. I've seen 10 grand a month ads get spent like that for 3 years. Yeah. How good is it to be Google, eh?
If someone's been doing that for 3 years, is it possible to get a false positive and espionage for someone who's been writing an ad for a long time that it could have been a situation like that where they set it up?
But here's the weird thing, it was still delivering them business, It just could have been delivering them a whole lot more. That's how powerful AdWords is. And the beauty of it in the markets that we serve is that it's not as competitive. See, if I do AdWords for let's say we're going to do it for the CRM market, well, that's going to be a fun one. There's been every CRM provider has probably had a team of 10 of the best AdWords guys in the world on that for about 10 years. And they've optimized the hell out of everything and split tested everything. If you come in, forget it. It's, you're not going to be able to do anything there. But if you use another business, like someone that hasn't done AdWords or someone that hasn't been doing it very well, that's a good opportunity.
What question can you ask to gauge that? Like, should I ask on the phone, like, hey, what's your click-through rate or something like that?
Well, the easiest way to do it is click on their ads. Search, see if the different ads come up. Like if you find a prospect and if you want to look at their ads, if they're doing AdWords, and you want to see if they're doing it right or wrong, try different keywords, see if the same ad serves for every different keyword. That's mistake number 1. Mistake number 2 is if you click on the different ads and they all drop you on the home page. So quality score is like the big thing with Google because that determines whether they show your ad or not. Yeah. And how you act, the beauty of this is how you get it is actually just by doing what we did with SEO already.
What's the vertical quality score tax with the star there on the left, bottom left?
I don't even know what that is.
If your quality score is lower, you pay more per click.
Oh, do you?
So if your quality score is really good, you pay less.
Oh, okay.
So if your quality score sucks and you're spending $10,000 a month, you could theoretically change that around and you'd get double the clicks for the same price.
Yeah, so I thought so that's similar to bidding then. If your click-through rate is, say, 50% and a competitor's click-through rate is 20 and they bid more than you per click, you'll still get favored over them because the way Google pretty much works is whatever gets them the most money. That's pretty much how it works.
I thought they wanted to give people what they want.
Yeah,
That's how quality score works.
Yeah, that's how you determine quality score.
Yeah, but clicks and stuff is, at the end of the day, they have to serve the advertiser and the other person, right? The other person is served when they get connected to the right stuff. And a conversion happens when they get connected to the right stuff. And if they get a conversion, then the bidding price goes higher because people are converting. Does that make sense? So it's like if you run an ad and it's like Facebook ads when they started, they were cheap. The average click price was cheap. Then advertisers measured their return, right? And then so they then start bidding more and more, and others work out the return, and then that's how the prices get driven up. So quality score is a factor, but also bidding is a factor, and click-through rate.
But with a high quality score, you can bid less to get those to get that first spot, and your clicks cost you less.
Yeah, they look at quality score first.
Click-through rate is the number one metric in quality score. So they want to show the most relevant ads, and so whatever ads are getting clicked on the most is the most relevant. So they go by that, but then the landing page ties in. That's what quality score comes with the landing page, is that it has a relevant landing page. So they don't want you clicking and then going to the wrong thing.
Well, if you have a good quality score, then your click-through rate will be good, right? They're all tied together. Because if you search for glass repair Miami and the ad says just glass repair something else, your click-through rate's going to be not existent. So the more relevant the ad is, the higher the click-through rate. Yeah. So it all kind of ties together. That's the beauty of the SEO and AdWords together. If you do the keyword research and then you determine the best ones, you build the landing pages, and you do it properly, you win in everything. Your SEO is good, your pages are good, your quality score is good, your click-through rate's good. And that's why it's powerful to have them both together.
Do you get your SEO guy to do the keyword research for you that you then use for AdWords, or other way around?
So if we're just doing AdWords, I would do it myself and get the AdWords guy to look at it. But if we were doing them both together, I would just it would just be the same thing, Yeah. I quite like looking at overseas markets and things like that. So I generally look at the spy tools and things and look at other keywords because it also really helps me close the deal. A lot of the time I'll pull the laptop out and pull up the spy tool in the consultation. because people like to see that stuff. So it's what helps get the deal across the line as well.
What's the name of this whiteboard?
I, and then Spionage.
Is that an Apple product?
Huh?
Is that an Apple product?
So does that make sense? Cool. It's hard to do like AdWords in an hour, right? And then after someone clicks, they go to like a landing page, which is what we were talking about before. And what makes a good landing page is just basic copywriting principles. It should have, you should remove the navigation from the header, and the URL should be, the same. Then it should have a headline that's similar to the keyword someone searched for, and then it's similar to the ad. So you always, if the headline in the ad is, you should generally, as a best practice, the headline should be pretty much identical to the headline in the ad, because people don't want surprises. If someone clicks on something and they land on something else, they're like angry. And it's good if they click on something and they see the same thing. So even when I split test Facebook ads for my own sort of stuff, because Facebook ads have an image, if you have that image on the landing page, the conversion's always higher because they feel like they're in the same sort of thing. So basic elements it should have is just, headline, some benefits, and remove the navigation, should tie to the ad and the keywords, and a call to action. And the call to action differs on the company and what they actually sell.
Is the logo linked to their homepage?
Generally, I think it is, yeah.
And then why is there a client login, or is that just, that's usually you wouldn't put that up there, right?
So this is just a random example, yeah. So if the company doesn't have a client login, there wouldn't be a client login, yeah.
Even then your client would log in through a
Do you
landing
put the
page.
phone number on there also? So that they ring, you put your...
It depends on the company. So, like, we've got a client that does juice cleansers. So, like, they sell these delivered juice cleanse things. And I asked them, like, do you want phone calls? And they're like, no. Like, they are doing so well through pay-per-click and their conversion rates are so good, they don't even want to possibly increase the conversion rate more for the cost of having support calls come through, So it depends on the client. For example, with glass repair, any emergency thing, you're shooting yourself in the foot if you don't have a phone number. No one's going to fill out a form when a pipe's pissing water out over their floor, Like, they're going to wait for someone to get that and respond. Might take a week.
At 5 and one sort of phone, would you shut down would you hide the phone number after 5?
I wouldn't even think about that. That's too much thinking.
Well, if it's an emergency industry, they probably have somebody to man the phone.
Even if they don't, I'd still just leave it there because it's too much work.
So you talked about the keyword and relevance. So do you just change the keyword for each different page?
Yeah, when I say sometimes we build 100 landing pages, they're pretty much identical. The only things that change is the URL, the headline, and then the description a little bit. That's about it. Yeah.
And you build this page with add-ons or what?
It's just built on WordPress. So, yeah, same thing as the website. Yeah.
What if they don't have a website?
Or what have we run into with that before? So the developer would typically just build it on the platform that they've got. So we've had to use some ugly ones.
Why do you use Embeds for all those landing pages? Is it
Because of SEO. Because most of the time I'm taking both. And this is what we were saying before. Like, an unbounced page has no SEO benefit. You know what I mean? We're killing two birds with one stone doing this. So I'll show you some examples. I'll pull some up on my browser over lunch, and then after lunch show you some real client sites to show you what it is. But when you build a landing page so for example, we built a landing page that says Plumbers Auckland for this particular plumbing company. And it was for AdWords, but in about a month that started ranking number 1 in Google for Plumbers Auckland. So for organic as well. So that's the beauty of doing it properly.
I was talking to a guy and he has a very strong suspicion that AdWords and SEO is sort of tied. Like Google hasn't really talked about it, but he says he's run some experiments where the moment he starts running AdWords, suddenly his SEO starts doing better than it would.
Well, a lot of it, traffic is an element in the equation too for algorithms. If a site gets a lot of traffic, like it's a sign that it's doing well, and AdWords directs traffic, you know.
So the Plumbers Auckland one you just said, where you have a landing page for an SEO, was it a landing page kind of like this, or it had more content on it?
So I'd never build a landing page this beautiful. I just used it as an example. I'll pull it up after lunch and show you. Yeah.
And how many do you use? One for each keyword. So if you have 5 keywords, 5 landing pages.
Yeah.
And you just duplicate them and just change the headline maybe and a few things.
Although, actually, so with SEO, like, you don't have as many keywords as you do with AdWords, right? You're going for the real big winners. But with AdWords, you can kind of test a whole bunch. So that's why often with AdWords, we might have 100 landing pages. But what we're optimizing with SEO is only really 5 keywords. Does that make sense? Because with AdWords, you want to test kind of everything because you can scale it out real quick. But no one's going to pay to SEO 150 keywords. Yeah. But the beauty of doing it with AdWords is that those pages often are so low competitive and they get lifted like with the ranking of the site on the main ones anyway, that those small pages start to rank as well. Yeah.
And it also makes your site thicker and more.
Yeah. Like this strategy really works well for these companies.
Do you offer any landing page optimization over time, or you don't change the page at all?
Like it's just, you've got to think of from where these guys have come, you know? Like if someone's not doing it and you do this, it's like a miracle. And if someone goes from having no keyword strategy or research, having one ad and pointing traffic to the homepage, to having this, it's more than enough. Like even when I do my own launches, like I don't even split test that many things. Like the big impact stuff is like what you want to focus on, you know? That's the stuff that, what I was saying is if you're doing AdWords for the CRM market, that's when you'd get into this stuff. So they'd be testing button colors, headlines, images, page load speeds, because that's the only area left for optimization. But with this, it's just, there's a whole lot more. So we don't have a single client that we split test their landing pages. And we don't need to.
Who did you learn these strategies from? Is it just the contractors or?
So, it was funny actually. I snapped my key in a lock at my apartment and I need to call a locksmith, and I called him through AdWords and I started asking him questions and he told me how his business had grown. Like he went from 1 guy to 10 and he was telling me all about it, and I started looking at his AdWords thing and I asked who his AdWords guy was, and then I asked him how much money he thought his AdWords guy was making, and he said probably not that much. And I was like, well, I want to hire this guy. And so that's my AdWords contractor, and that's the strategy he used to optimize that guy is now what I'm teaching you guys and what I've applied to everyone else. So that's how it happened. Because that was his strategy. He was like, it's real simple. All I do is I do this research, I find out their keywords, I build out all the landing pages, and it was, I saw it firsthand. This guy's phone was ringing like crazy. And he was like, I'll be there in 30 minutes. And I was like, no, you won't, you just got here. Like, he was like, his business was exploding. And that's what got me down this path of looking into it. And then I found out how much money there was in this by looking at the other guys that were making a lot. Yeah.
So is that typically what any AdWords contract would do, is the creation of these landing pages as part of what they do?
If they were good,
Most of them just do AdWords and they just send it. You need to tell them, the ones I've worked with, you have to tell them where to send it. That's the thing, they don't have this like strategy.
well, I know Yellow Pages will. Yellow Pages is starting to get into some of this stuff.
But one landing page.
Yeah, but rough. But like the company that's making the most money in New Zealand, the guys that are making, I know because my sales guy came from that company, and they're just a sales-oriented business. They got a phone floor, automated dialers, and everything. And they used to sell an online directory, which is just doesn't work. Like everyone knows that. And then now they're moving into AdWords and things, and they're probably the market leader. And they would make, they'd make definitely more than 80 million a year. Yeah, close to 100 million, I'd say. And they're ruthless. Like they're very bad with what they do. So they don't do the research. They point the AdWords to your homepage, and they don't really optimize anything. Yeah.
So what's the plan? Let's just say that they start doing that, like in a year. Again, that's obviously down the
They
road.
can't.
They
Like,
can't do that one.
so the problem is that like they're hooked on the margins that they first got from selling the directory business, which was pretty much 100%, because they just put them in their own directory, and now they've moved to add. Yellow Pages was hooked on that, and now they've moved into this, and to really get the high margins, they have to do a quick job. So you can take that business. I mean, you can still make a lot, but not as much as that. Like, unless you build it properly and layer the business and hire the staff, right? So to take this, doing the proper strategy to 100 million a year, which is what I plan to do, you're going to need to build a lot of stuff, right?
So you think you can scale a $100 million business doing this?
So I think there'd be software before that would happen. So where you would build software that would help you do a lot of this work. So like the landing pages, then the campaigns and things like that.
Sam, you said that you target 5 to 10 keywords. So how come you have 100 landing pages?
So does anyone else not get that? Cool. All right. So with SEO, you focus a lot on the keywords. So you're just trying to find the main ones. But with AdWords, you're kind of going after every variant of every different keyword. So like if a keyword would be plumbers Auckland for a plumber, within Auckland there's like, I don't know how many suburbs, but there's at least 50 suburbs, right? So in AdWords, you might have 50 different variants of Plumbers Auckland. So you would have Plumbers Auckland would be one, but then you'd have Plumbers Herne Bay, which are the suburbs. Plumbers Plumbers St Heliers, all the way through the suburbs. And then you have the different landing, because you take it to another level.
You have boilers or whatever.
Yeah.
High speed.
Yeah.
Water heaters.
Does that make sense? And because for SEO, I said you could optimize for all of those different things, but it'd cost you a fortune. The way SEO works is you focus more on like the parents of all the little variants that you would do in AdWords.
In AdWords, you're only writing of 3 lines. So to write 100 of 3 lines is much easier than in SEO to write a full blog post or a full article 100 different times and optimize it and everything. So that's why in AdWords, you can write the 3 lines for that exact term, and in SEO, the variants your page is going to rank for anyways because no one else is going after them. So you don't worry about all the little variants that get a small amount of traffic because you're going to have a page that ranks for it anyways. With AdWords, you want to have an exact match ad.
Yeah.
So is it your contractor that finds the 100 keywords?
So yeah, the AdWords guy would do all of that.
So it sounds like how much the contractor will do can vary. What's the set that you should expect or demand?
So 100's really a lot, that's a lot of work. So I would say on average, 10's more than enough, So we only go out to 100 on the big ones.
But so they do the research, they pick the 10 keywords. Do they always build the landing pages, or like what should you expect there?
So in the past, with the old contractors and stuff, they wouldn't build the landing pages for you. So I think you've got to be flexible here. Like, I think you might need to use a WordPress developer to build the landing pages if your AdWords contractor isn't willing to do it. Like, it's a bit rough in the beginning with how messy it all is and using so many contractors and stuff, but it's definitely the safest way to start, because if you go and do it the way I'm doing it now off the bat, I mean, you've got a lot of overhead, and I don't think you'd be able to sell the guys either, because you need to have the clients, you need to have the skills and stuff.
But if you're building 10 landing page variations, are you doing the copy for all 10? Because the WordPress developer's not going to do that, right?
So, well, with the copy, they should be able to do it. Like, we're talking a sentence here. Like, I'll show you some after lunch. I'll show you some real ones, and I think you'll be amazed at how bad looking and shit they are. Yeah. But like, they work. It's all it needs.
Sam, not having done this, if we were going to flowchart this really briefly, and we started from the day you signed that contract, the next step is to talk to, I'm just trying to figure out all the different stakeholders and key players in your process to roll this out with 50 or 100 landing pages for AdWords and working your SEO. Maybe we can talk about it in lunch, but I'm just trying to figure out in my mind how that flowchart would look.
You mean
It
for the
seems-
whole retainer?
Yeah,
An onboarding
exactly. It
process?
just seems quite complex in terms of all the different folks that have got to be involved in this.
Yeah. So I've got it quite good right now, and it's just 2 contractors that are both like local now, that I'm eventually going to move into the office. Yeah. But in the past, it's been quite a lot. But at the most, you need an SEO guy for SEO, an AdWords guy for AdWords, and then you need someone that knows how to do sites, right? Which is WordPress. That's basically it. The only way I've been able to make it a bit more simple is because the AdWords guy also does the landing pages now. Yeah. But if we were going to do their site, I'd still have to use the site person, yeah.
Do you have like onboarding checklists that you're going to share in the new course?
Yeah. So we've only got like 1 hour per topic here. So that's why at the end of each one I give additional resources plus the blueprint course as well. Yeah. So after the landing page, they convert or bounce. So on that landing page, they make a decision to buy or not buy, or call or not call. And these are the different factors that play in that. One is the quality of traffic. So for example, if the keyword that you target with AdWords determines the quality of the traffic. So if you let's say you're a plumbing business, and the keyword you target with your AdWords campaign is plumbing, that's it. Well, man, you're going to get some low quality traffic there. You might get some kindergarten students that need to do a project on plumbers, that they're going to search for that word, A lot of people search for that word. It doesn't mean that they're buyers. So quality of traffic is a big factor in the conversion process, and that's found with the keyword. Then relevance of the ad to landing page, that's what we were talking about before. That's like the quality score again. It's how does the ad tie to the landing page, and does the keyword tie to all of that? And quality of the landing page, so the headline, benefit, call to action. And then the final one is the only way you actually, so it's not really a factor, but it's the only way that you know if someone converts or not, and that's the use of tracking and metrics to optimize. And that is what I'm going to talk about now. So this is the two I use. So Google Analytics and then Delacon as the call tracking thing. I owe this company a lot of money. Yeah. I said this company's helped me make a lot of money. This is like probably one of the best selling points I've got for AdWords. Yeah.
I use them too.
Oh, you already use them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But they give you commission too, don't they?
What do you mean?
You can sign up as a reseller with them.
I've white labeled with them, so I have to pay them, so they don't pay me. I absorb the cost for the client, so the client only pays one person. Yeah.
I make the client pay for them.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't disclose to the client that wasn't my software. Because I've got it white labeled and I say this is a benefit. I never outright lie and say this is our software, but I say we've got the ability to do this and this is what we can do, you know.
So how are you charging for the calls? Because don't you have to pay for the calls?
Yeah. So it's included generally in the price.
How much does that cost per client, roughly? And do you have all
It varies per number, so they have a price per number. So how it works, I'll tell you how the hell this thing works. So instead of having a number hard-coded on a site or a landing page, you put a piece of JavaScript there instead. And you have a pool of numbers. So you might have 5 or 10 or 100. And every session, so every time someone clicks and lands on a page, it cycles the pool of numbers. So it knows which number was attached to what click and what search term. And then when the dial goes through, it connects that as a stat and then records it. So that's how it works. But the more traffic a site has, the more numbers it needs because it needs to keep pooling for different sessions. So it varies on how much traffic, and that varies by ad spend. So that's why within my pricing, which we'll cover next, that my fee is a price plus a percentage of budget. So that I make more money per ad spend as well. Because if I charge $1,500 and had a $100,000 ad spend and I had to pay for Delacon, I'd be losing a lot of money, you know?
So what percentage of your retainer price do you end up paying to Delacon, and is that low?
It's low.
Would that be roughly the same for us starting out, or do you have some sort of higher volume pricing?
So first of all, I wouldn't even do this on a small client, because it was more work.
What would be the price ad budget range that you would consider above or below to be a small or large client?
If I can make $3,000 a month, I'll do this.
So that would be $1,500 plus 10%. So they've got to be spending about.
Or if they're doing SEO and stuff too, and I feel like being nice, you know. Yeah.
There's something magical that happens with this. You tie yourself to that lead. Like you say how Sam Ovens just sent you this lead. Like I literally call my client and I'm like, yeah, you had these calls. This was from the Water Corporation. This was from this government agency. You're giving business. It's tied to me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, this thing is just money.
Do you think it works on French?
Dunno. You could have a look. That's your question for everything, eh? There's got to be someone, yeah.
You can host the software yourself. It's just tricky to host it yourself.
Yeah, here's one.
If they've got it in New Zealand, like they've actually got staff in New Zealand and an office in New Zealand. So I'd say they got one in France.
I think they're Aussie company.
Oh yeah.
Do they sell white labeling?
Oh, actually, no. You can use a different company to this. The only reason I was forced to use these guys is because I'm in New Zealand. So there's WordStream. WordStream, I think, might actually have a better offering than this if you're in America.
WordStream.
Yeah.
Google's starting to do some of this now too.
So Google's always done call tracking, but they don't do call whispers and call record, which are the two really cool things.
So the three main features are call tracking, call whispering, and call recording.
Yeah, and WordStream does all of those, and it probably does even more.
Okay.
But I can't use it because I'm in New Zealand.
And keyword integration. That's the big thing that these guys do. They tell you what keyword they click on, which landing page they can find.
And this thing tells you the results that often that's what you optimize your SEO campaign for, right? Which one's delivering the calls, but not just the calls. You listen to the calls, and what are the calls that actually turn into money?
Okay.
That keyword is what you're going to put into the SEO campaign.
Now, how do you track if it's not a call-based thing and it's a form fill-out, a lead capture? What tracking tool do you use for that?
Analytics.
Just Google Analytics?
Yeah. So analytics will do anything except for calls. That's what Delicon does, but Delicon actually feeds that stat into analytics. So you end up with everything in analytics.
Are you doing anything crazy with analytics? Like, apparently you can do all kinds of like conversion tracking goals.
I know you could go seriously hard on this stuff, but it's like you can't be a perfectionist on this stuff, you know? Like, I can't even be a perfectionist on this stuff for my company itself, let alone for a client, you know? But so I cut the line, and I cut the line quite short.
So what are you limited to?
Just enough to tell if it's working or not. Yeah.
Who sets up the contract? You set it up or?
So it's real simple. It's if we get a new client, you've got to order some numbers that they get when they're fulfilled, and you've got the numbers. Then the AdWords guy just puts the JavaScript on the landing pages. Yeah. But I did really want to use WordStream, but I couldn't. So you definitely want to look into WordStream, because in the United States, I'm pretty sure that's a better company to go with.
WordStream was more keyword management.
It is, but they've also got features that do this. Yeah.
It's also a lot more expensive.
Do they not just do call? Oh, they don't. Okay. Well, you've got a couple of different options.
Well, I was wondering, is there something different besides that this is New Zealand? Does this do anything special that like another, like I know Call Rail is another one that's pretty popular?
There's self-hosted stuff that you can use too that does all of this.
Sure.
This is just a quick and dirty, easy one.
All you really need from this is the whisper and the analytics.
Yeah. I hate features. Like, it's the devil in business is complexity. Like, the second we start talking about, like before, like, does the phone number disappear off the landing page after business hours? Like, bye-bye profit margin. Like, that's gone. Like, that's why I won't let a conversation go anywhere near that sort of stuff, you know?
You can schedule AdWords to only show during certain hours.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good idea.
Yeah,
If you're
it's a good idea.
business that's only open until 6 and nobody's there after 6, then just show the ad, you know.
Yeah, like, honestly, these things are so complex that you could go so far that it would just be... And it would be worth it if maybe someone was paying you $1 million, you know. But like, you remember the best thing to do is just get them results. Like, they don't care if their number disappears on AdWords or they don't even know. Like, they don't care what like analytics you've got, just so long as they're getting customers and they're paying you less than what they're making, good.
Should you go over reporting and campaign management, how you're tweaking the strategy over time?
So I don't change so the AdWords contractor will optimize. And when he optimizes, it's not split testing of landing pages, it's mostly just bid. So I know he changes bids, I know he gets rid of bad keywords, and he split tests ads. So ads we split test, but we never go as far as split testing landing pages. Like, I keep it simple. I've gone a bit more complex on a client before that was a higher value one, and it wasn't worth it. Like, and they were even paying me $10,000 a month. And I started doing some fancy stuff, and before I knew it, it was just out of control, you know. So, the next one. So, like our strategy for this, for AdWords, what we do is we do, the keyword research. That's the foundation of it all. Then we build the campaigns in AdWords, and how we build the campaign in AdWords is in making it really simple, because I'm just going to try and make it simple. For each keyword, there's a different ad group, and inside that ad group, there's 2 ads, and then with those 2 ads, they're attached to one landing page. And basically, what you're doing is you can then track one keyword and see if it's good. You can then split test the 2 ads, and then you've just got one landing page. And attached to that, you've got the call tracking and Google Analytics. And that's the basis of it, but for different keywords. And then, so that's how the architecture thing's built. And then ad copy is as simple as just main benefit and having the keyword in the ad. So the URL you should just change to the keyword. The headline should have the keyword in it, and the description should have the keyword in it, because what Google does is it bolds that if that's what you search for. So if you searched for like Miami plumber and the ad came up, Miami plumber would be bolded, gets a higher click-through rate. And then it states a main benefit. So like 24/7, if that's something that people care about, or best price, or urgent response, something like that, and then a call to action like call now or something. So real simple stuff. I mean, you don't even have much space to get very wild with copy with AdWords anyway. And then the analytics, we use Google Analytics, we use Delacon for call tracking. There's some other providers in the US you can look at. And then all of the rest of the stuff is just basically optimization. So they're improving the optimization. So they're removing some keywords, changing ads, bidding more, bidding less, just optimizing it. And that's the job of the AdWords contractor on the ongoing basis. Does that make sense?